Just what I was thinking.
Do we want to count up before we get started?
Oh, shoot. How about that?
I figured we'd just play catch up.
Oh, do it next
Just
week.
play catch up next week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Go ahead and hit us in. Hit the button.
Oh, hit our button. Oh. Hello, everybody. Strange day and time, but we are here. We're going to have an abbreviated version of the show tonight. We're going to save some stuff for next week, catch up on our Homer Minute and that good stuff. We got a lot of games to go through and not a lot of time to do it. So, welcome in and buckle up, people. And as always, if you have any questions, shoot them in. Like we will always take the time to answer questions. So make sure you shoot them in.
Good evening, everybody.
What up, Wansi? So we're gonna get right to it. So first off, we have Tampa Bay. I have both of them right here.
Nice.
We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills here on a Wednesday night. Bucks right now are plus 8.5. Over unders at 43.5. The money line's at plus 320, and the Buffalo Bills are at minus 410.
Well, got to feel like Buffalo's going to bounce back this week, right? No?
Yeah, they're the team, the kind of team that's capable of just being, angry and playing better. And I mean, I hope they come out that way, But
and they're at home. I don't know.
It's been so
but
hard
the
to predict
seems
the
like
last
too
couple
much.
of weeks. The last couple of weeks have been crazy.
That's true. Crazy NFL weeks.
Yeah, with Buffalo going down last week, San Francisco losing 2 in a row. What else? What are we missing? What else was crazy? The Raiders losing to Chicago.
Yeah, honestly, it was just a bunch of little ones.
The way that Detroit got beat down in Baltimore.
Oh yeah,
that was crazy.
That was a huge one.
Man, we were so wrong last week.
Well, I think you guys are more wrong than I was.
We got to total it up, but honestly, we were talking about that on the right end. That this is one of those weeks where like all the experts had a bad week. Like, if there was somebody out there that had a good week last week, they were not an expert.
Yeah,
they're not studying football.
They were rolling D20s.
You're right. That's next week.
D20s. I need to get me some more shirts like that.
Fantasy wise, looking at it, Tampa Bay.
Rachaad White was really good.
Yeah.
I was really happy to have him last week. Their running game doesn't look pretty.
At all. Godwin's got a little bit this week, right? If I'm not mistaken.
A couple weeks in a row now.
Okay.
He looks
Godwin's
really good.
finally
He
coming
looks
back.
like he's in that wide receiver 2 range.
And then Evans had a depressed week, right?
Evans scored again.
Oh, did he score again? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
So,
Like I say, this is early in the week. I haven't had a chance to go over everything yet, so I'm learning as I go.
and he looks bad right now because I actually watched this game. Like, I paid close attention to this game. And I was, just like everybody else, what's going on with Bijan? What happened? Did he get in trouble?
Nope.
And it turns out he had a migraine. For
Migraine.
anybody who doesn't know, he just and the NFL apparently is investigating the situation because the Falcons knew that he was having trouble. I don't know, like 12 hours, 18 hours before game time. And I guess they might have violated some of the disclosure policies of the NFL. We'll find out. As
a fantasy football fan, I hope so, because come on, man, give us some information.
Yeah, when I saw that, I went into my dynasty league where I don't have Bijan, and I was like, so if the NFL finds the Falcons for not disclosing that Bijan had an issue, does that mean fantasy managers should get a do-over and get to replace him with somebody else?
Right?
The answer is no. No, you should eat it.
Just in case you didn't know.
But back to this game. So Godwin, Evans, you're going for it. Rachaad White, you probably have to.
You're
Buffalo,
playing Rachaad White for sure. Running back is hell right now.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, I mean, but there's no buys this week, so maybe you don't have to.
It's still bad. Running back's still bad. Look what Austin Eckler did last week.
Right.
Yeah, I saw some people like re-ranking running backs for the rest of the season, and,
Yeah.
and like seeing like Eckler at 10. And it's like,
That's a little rough so far. I mean,
well, the Chargers haven't done a whole lot offensively,
Right.
so they're not scoring 30 points a game, and he's not like,
it's been a couple
threatening.
interesting weeks in a row.
But
But
he's how many touchdowns does Austin Eckler have right now? Because he scored close to 20 the last 2 seasons, so I don't think he's going to break 10 this year. And where does that finish? But anyway, I think we all like the Bills here.
Yes.
That would be crazy to pick Baker Mayfield in Buffalo.
yeah, the only real question is Gabe Davis. He's I think your typical.
I do
maybe.
think that the Buccaneers will be able to score enough that you probably still just want to play Gabe Davis too. And then actually, because they might come out mad, they might not care. They might just score a bunch of points. I would definitely play him.
Kincaid is more of a play now that Knox is out. So.
Oh, and he's a huge play. That was thank you for bringing him up, because Knox, his injury gives a whole bunch of targets to Kincaid, and he becomes a red zone weapon too. So
Isn't Tampa Bay pretty good against tight ends though?
yes, that's the
Okay,
thing. Is
yeah.
like, so you don't expect him to go off this week, maybe, but soon.
But in the
but
future.
soon.
Yep.
And then I think that's it.
Sounds good.
Next up, we got Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Commanders. Philadelphia Eagles -6.5. The over/under is at 43.5. -290. The money line +235 if you're betting on the Commanders.
That's a really low over/under. What's the weather for this game? Do we know?
I have not looked up weather.
I mean, it's early in the week to be trying to.
Yeah,
predict
we
what
won't.
we're
But
gonna
we can get some kind of talk about it for a second. I'll look it up.
The Eagles just picked up a safety from Tennessee. Byard, I think his name is. He's a Pro Bowler from Tennessee, and a veteran. So once they get him acclimated, their secondary is probably going to start to get better, we think, because they've been really, decimated by injuries there. They missed Jalen Carter last week. I think he's supposed to be back this week. The Commanders, man, they played awful last week in New York. They played awful. The Eagles while they lost that game in New York and Jalen Hurts did not play well, the Eagles as a whole have not played a poor game yet this season, and I would just expect them to roll over the Commanders. I don't think that Julio Jones is a factor, and then you just start everybody else. So you're going to start A.J. Brown, Hurts, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, and Dallas Goedert. And then on the other side, the Eagles have been susceptible to tight ends, so this should be a good place to play Logan Thomas. Maybe.
So if you're streaming tight ends, that kind of thing, Logan Thomas might be worth a pickup this week.
Logan Thomas week,
Yeah.
if there is one. And then after that, the rest of their offense is just unexciting. It's
I
a
mean, you're
scary
playing
place to be.
McLaurin, you're
You don't
playing
wanna
Brian
play-
Robinson.
No, you might. I wouldn't do that.
I'd
Then again,
I'd play him over Rashad White.
I wouldn't.
I would.
Pie in the face.
All right, yeah, put that down for one.
All right, you're getting a pie. You are getting a pie in the face.
Oh, we'll see. But
Okay, so that's a new thing, guys. Since this is a night show, so we're actually doing a little bit of drinking. But since drinking has been and giving shots as bets has been removed from our show, we've been looking for something new to do, and we're going to start betting on pies. So when Brian and I strongly disagree with each other on a player, we'll put it on the board, and it could be a bet to take a pie in the face. And I think that's what we're going to do with this one. I'm going to be on Rashad White, and Brian's going to be on Brian Robinson.
And then if we just come up with, if we have multiple ones during the week, like last week, we ended up with 2, and we tied. We went 1-1, so nobody gets pied this week.
That was good too. It was good. It was
yeah,
really
they were
close.
very
It was
close.
really close.
So we'll try to come up with an odd number of bets this week, but we'll see what happens.
So Brian had Robinson. You had who, Ken?
Rashad White. He has Brian Robinson, not Bijan.
All right. So
And just real quick, talking about the weather, basically every 10 o'clock game, so every early game that is outdoors has rain. Like everything has rain. So the whole East Coast is raining. Most of them are light showers.
That's why it's such a
and
low
most of them
over-under.
are like
Yeah.
10-mile-an-hour winds. So nothing too bad, but enough that it's going to affect games and keep scores depressed by a little bit, I would
Start
say.
the Philly defense.
Always.
So next up, we got the Patriots versus the Dolphins. Patriots at plus 9.5. Over under at 46.5, plus 350 if you're betting on the Patriots, minus 455 if you're betting on the Dolphins.
Hey, the Patriots are playing against an AFC East juggernaut that scores a bunch of points. The Patriots should lose by a lot, right?
What could happen?
What could happen? Man, that Bill Belichick guy, though, he figures stuff out, I'm telling you.
Yeah, people are talking about him getting fired in the middle of the season. He's like, bitches, I've got a contract. I just didn't tell you guys about it.
Yeah, so they've already seen him once. They're getting to play him in Miami before December, which is usually good for the Patriots.
If I
struggle-
recall this
struggle with
matchup
one.
correctly, New England really, really struggles in Miami.
In December.
Is it just December? I
Yeah.
thought it was just like period.
That's why I brought it up. It's in December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I struggle with this one because Miami is missing Teron Armstead, and if you watch them against the Eagles, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it made a difference. That lineman definitely did. And
When-
didn't they lose another lineman later in the game?
They did.
They did. So they're down 2 linemen.
Their
probably this
other,
week.
they lost their right tackle in
Yeah.
the game too. I can't remember his name, but they lost their right tackle, and Armstead's their left tackle. And Philadelphia just controlled that game. The score was closer than what the game actually was. Miami had a couple of big plays, but Philadelphia methodically moved the football, and they harassed Tua all night long.
Yep. Yeah, they were all over Tua. And so that is going to be a thing going forward until that line starts to fix itself. Don't expect any 70-point games out of the Dolphins.
Yeah, don't expect them to dominate people.
But they're going to win this week, though. I mean, you still play your Dolphins, right? I mean, there's nobody you really actually, running backs we're talking about. I mean, you're starting Mostert. Is there anybody else worth starting?
For the Dolphins?
So. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, just Mostert right now.
not until Achane comes back.
Yeah, and keep an eye on the situation. Wilson might become a factor later on. Ahmed might stay a factor, but I don't think so.
And Wilson combined for 3 carries, and Wilson had 1.
Yeah, in a bad game script. So
Are you picking the Dolphins?
I haven't yet said who I was
that's what I
picking.
was asking.
Good eye, Ray. Good ear. Man. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Dolphins. I am.
But you would pick the Patriots to cover the 9.5.
Yes, I would. I think 9.5 is too
yes,
much.
too much for a divisional game like that.
At what time is this game?
10.
I'm going to pick the Patriots.
Oh wow!
I'm going to take the Patriots.
Well, because it's a 10 o'clock game.
And it's raining.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm calling
Patriots. I think it's worth talking about a little bit. Just Ramondre Stevenson is still a worthwhile play.
Both.
I think
they both are.
And I think I think
Zeke,
Zeke can actually be started as a flex.
Zeke had a great game, and he had a 70-yard screen pass get called back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh man, and he looked good. So Ezekiel Elliott was clocked at over 20 miles an hour last weekend.
That's surprising. That is surprising.
I mean, not to me. I told you he was never a guy who was like dazzled people with cuts and moves and swiftness, but he's a track star.
North and south, he can do it.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
And the other, Kedrick Bourne. Make sure you're paying attention to him, wide receiver, New England Patriots. He's actually starting to put up numbers. He's worth the roster spot.
He's done that without Juju, though. That's
true,
the
but I
interesting
think
thing.
he's earned it. He's going to stick around, I think.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
My projection on that is that you don't want any of the New England pass catchers, but if you want one, it's probably him.
It's him, yeah.
So next up, we got New York Jets versus the New York Giants. -3 on the Jets. Over-under is 36.5, -148 if you're betting on the Jets, and +124 if you're betting on the Giants.
I think we know where I'm going.
Jets.
Battle for New York. I love it.
Actually, I think I'm going to go with Jets, too.
I figured Ken was going with the Giants. He made a mistake by not going with them last week. I thought you were going to correct it this week. No?
Oh no, I you know, the problem was that I picked the Durs.
I'm going Jets.
That was the problem.
You picked what?
The Durs, to the Commanders.
Oh,
The Durs. And also, when we talked about the game, I do remember saying that like this is like that particular game, like crazy stuff happens, and there were some stupid turnovers in that game. There was a lot of bad penalties. It was an ugly game. It was not a good game of football. Like Giants fans shouldn't feel like anything's fixed from that game.
Yeah. So start worthy people. I mean, Breece Hall for sure. Garrett Wilson, I think you have to start.
Oh yeah. People should feel excited about Garrett Wilson.
But is there anybody else on the Jet side you want to start? I think that's it.
No, that's it.
Okay. And Giant side, you want to start Saquon?
No, Waller.
And Waller. Is there anybody else you want to start on that side? No, right?
No.
Okay. So
but
what's the over-under here?
Jalen Hyatt. Let me double check this.
36. Yeah, there's a reason for that. This is going to be a low-scoring game.
Oh, yeah. I think so. Well, like I still think that Jets offense is just like on the verge of clicking and scoring a bunch of points.
I hope you're right. I'd love to see it.
I mean, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, they're just so good. And I think it's just a matter of time before like they get their timing down. And Zach Wilson is playing better and better every week.
Can you imagine, like, if they actually squeak into the playoffs and then Aaron Rodgers gets to come back and lead them to the Super Bowl? I mean, is that, like, scripted? I mean, then I start to think, oh, maybe the NFL is like the WWE, you know? Telling you.
So, Jalen Hyatt in the last two games has been over 70% of the snaps.
Okay.
And has 4 targets and then 5 targets last week, of which he caught 2 for 75 yards. So he's a dangerous guy.
Okay.
We were
somebody
waiting
to watch out for.
We were waiting at the beginning of the season for them to, get him out there so that they could. That was the problem with the New York offense, is they didn't have anybody to threaten downfield. So he's somebody to watch.
Keep him on your radar. All right, go ahead, Ray.
Next up, we got the LA Rams versus the Dallas Cowboys. LA Rams +6 over under 45, and +210 if you're betting on the Rams, and -258 if you're betting on the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, this should be a Cowboy game here. You would think they're at home. You know what I mean? They need to prove that they're still one of the best in the NFC. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Cowboys here, and of course Ken will.
Well, I mean, it's a strength versus a weakness. So it's like, the Rams struggle to block people, and
okay, that's a big one.
And the Cowboys are very good at getting through people who are trying to block people. So it seems like it could be a really bad day for Matthew Stafford.
All right. But starts, let's see, Rams. Rams running backs. What do we think about that? Ray, you watched the game. Do you have any particular insights on that?
I think Henderson, they're going to keep going with him. I think they're going to keep rocking with Henderson. Yeah.
Did it feel like Freeman was the more explosive back, though?
I don't know. I feel like Henderson got the yards when they needed the yards.
I feel like Henderson knew the system.
Yeah,
and so
possible,
he was getting more reps because of that. But it seemed like when Freeman was actually getting the ball, especially early in the game, I was like, damn, he's got burst. Like, he was bursting through our line and getting 6 yards when I thought he should have only gotten 3 each time. So I was impressed with Freeman. If I were, I wouldn't start him this week, but keep an eye on him just in case. Henderson, I think, is just a guy that knows the system, would be my opinion.
Side note,
but
Ryan
that might
has
be
Royce Freeman.
I think I have both.
Not in our.
I have Henderson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, in one of my other leagues, I have both. Then
in our league of record, he is talking at the Freeman owner, or he's talking at the Henderson owner. And
I started
that.
Henderson too last week. And you got me.
But I think Henderson is the short-term play. And Freeman might be the future play until Kyron comes back, in which case everybody's useless. So.
Agreed.
Rams,
you still
wide receivers. Yeah, you're starting Puka. You're starting Cup.
So I saw this interesting stat. Puka Nakua target share weeks 1 through 4 was 32%, and target share weeks 5 through 7, 36%.
Nice.
So it's actually gone up since Cooper Cup has come back.
Yeah, 2-man team over there.
Well, I think Cup dropped a couple passes right there at the start, and then he just started going to Kua. You know what I mean? After that, he was just like,
he's
fuck
mad
that.
at him. You know what? You missed breakfast yesterday.
Something happened there, and it's a worry, right? When people come back from missing the beginning of the season, like any little thing kind of shatters the quarterback's confidence in them, and he dropped a couple, third down passes.
And Nakua's been doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy to just go, yep, let's just freeze him out. I was just like, right? Because I think we all picked him too in our DraftKings lineups. Cooper Cup.
Yes, we did.
So it was kind of like, So we moving on to the Vikings?
Yeah, raising
well, just Dallas side. Was there anybody that CeeDee Lamb, of course, and Pollard, of course? Is there anybody else?
There's no new news.
Okay, so nobody else worth starting.
No, and Dak is streamer
at best
quarterback at this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, we got the Vikings and the Packers. The Vikings -1, over-unders at 42. -112 if you're betting on the Vikings, and -108 if you're betting on the Packers.
And this is an early game?
This is still 10 a.m., yeah.
Okay. Vikings are coming off that big win at home.
On prime time, too.
Yeah, the Packers are getting killed by everybody right now.
Yeah, just came off a big loss, but they're at home.
But they're going to be
divisional
at home.
game.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're the better team.
You think the Packers are the better team?
I do. I think the Vikings have the better quarterback. But if you remove the quarterbacks from the situation, you would take the Packers roster over the Vikings roster.
I'm still picking Vikings.
With Jefferson hurt, maybe, but with Jefferson active?
That's a fantasy football thing. I'm talking about the whole thing, the whole roster.
I'm saying, okay,
like,
well,
the Vikings have no running backs. The Packers have 2. The Vikings, the Vikings have Addison.
Do the Packers have 2?
Hey,
Cam Akers was doing his thing, man.
AJ Dillon.
That's true.
AJ Dillon, while he's not fantasy football stud, is one of the top 5 most successful running backs in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. So he does what he needs to do.
Okay, I guess I just haven't seen that on the field. That's for sure.
They're really goofy in the goal line. They pass the ball a lot in the red zone, and so they're like, you don't ever get to see AJ Dillon like plowing through into the end zone. There aren't a whole lot of highlights of that, but he is an effective running back, and he's gotten better. He's still not somebody you should be excited about in fantasy football, but he'd be better than anybody the Vikings have.
I don't know about that, man. I really don't.
Start Cam Akers.
AJ Dillon is not impressive to me.
Start Cam Akers.
See,
well, you're definitely so on Viking side. You're
Cam
definitely
Akers
starting.
look better to me. In the
Addison,
last game.
Cam Akers looked decent. Honestly, Madison looked decent too. So I really see a timeshare happening there. That looks like a true 50-50 backfield to me. Could go, if somebody gets hot, could go that way. But it looks like they're going to be splitting time back there.
Yeah, sad times for fantasy managers.
Yeah.
So who you guys got?
But Jordan Addison looks great.
Jordan Addison looks great. KJ Osborne is a spot start only if you have to. Packers side, I still have some confidence in Christian Watson, even though he sucked.
Did he play last week?
Yeah, he played. Yeah, I know. I think he got me 6 points.
Yeah, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't rewatched everything yet. So,
give me the Vikings on that one.
Ken?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers. Stupid Packers.
Watson, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 27 yards. Yikes.
Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tennessee Titans. Let me find them on the... Oh, they switched it up on me over here on DraftKings. -3 off the Falcons. Over-under is 35.5. -148 if you're betting on the Falcons, and +124 if you're betting on the Titans.
So, at this point, we don't know if Ryan Tannehill is going to play or not. But we do know that if Ryan Tannehill doesn't play, that both Malik Willis and Will Levis are going to see time.
Red alert.
Start,
Start your Atlanta defense.
Start the Falcons defense. So the Falcons, like I said to Brian when we were talking about games on Sunday, after rewatching their game against the Commanders, I really felt like the better team lost that game. Like the Commanders were just opportunistic. Ritter played really good football, but made some key mistakes.
Yep.
And then they played really well. I picked them to win in Tampa Bay. I thought they played really well in Tampa Bay. And I expect them to play tough in Tennessee. I don't like it's. And if Tennessee doesn't have Ryan Tannehill, I am picking the Falcons to win this game.
Okay, but you got to pick it now. So
I don't have to do that.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Got to go on record right now.
No, I'm not doing that because like we actually do put these picks up against other people. You know, like it's like when we go and we compare our picks to like other pros and stuff like that. Those guys are picking on Sunday morning.
So we're gonna text in our fixes on Sunday morning or what?
Everybody knows where I'm at. Like if Ryan Tannehill doesn't play, like the Falcons will win this game, in my opinion. And if Ryan Tannehill does play, I think that the Titans should win.
All right. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take the Falcons either way. I like the Falcons here. I think they're starting to play good ball. And I think Tennessee is starting to really think about next year. Everyone's talking about where Henry's going to end up, where he's going to get traded to. I think Tennessee's on their way to making this a rebuilding year, and I think Atlanta is out there building up their team and fighting for it. So I think they're going to take it this week. Fantasy wise, I'm really starting to like Drake London, guys.
Welcome to the team.
Well, I've always loved his talent, but Ritter was dog crap. As we spoke, you know what I mean? I think it was 3 weeks ago that you were telling us Ritter didn't belong in the league, and I thought you were right.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe he's a viable quarterback.
Maybe it really was the play
Drake
calling.
London.
Maybe it really was the play calling. So, like what I saw, especially in that Commanders game, was that it really just looked like they took the gloves off, and they were like, "Go, just go."
Yeah.
And because he looked more comfortable. He did absolutely everything in that Commander game that you'd want to see from an NFL quarterback. And then against the Buccaneers, he cleaned up the mistakes, and they got a win on the road. His first win on the road.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes, that was his first win on the road. I forgot to mention that last week when I was picking them to win, but he's got the arm talent. He's got the ability to process things fast and make good decisions and make an accurate, strong throw. Like the touchdown to Kyle Pitts. If anybody is listening hasn't watched it, you should watch that. That was a really, really, really good play by Desmond Ritter. And then there was another play he made late in the game to keep them in the game on third down, where he avoided the rush and then went left out of the pocket, and he's really, really fast. Like I remember at the end of that game, I was like, I telling you in the Dynasty League we're in together, I was like counting on one of these good teams that has Desmond Ritter as his second quarterback, to need another quarterback, and I was getting worried that that's not going to happen. Not only might that not happen, but he might have a stud. So.
Stud is going far, but still,
he can do
very
everything
impressive,
you want.
and yeah. So you're starting Bijan, you're starting Drake London, and now you can actually start Kyle Pitts, but there's nobody else you can start on that side. And Tennessee, God, who are you starting?
You have
Hopkins.
to start Derrick Henry. Like, you're not going to not start Derrick Henry. And
you have to start Hopkins. I don't even know about Derrick Henry now. I mean, if I've got him, I'm probably starting him. But
don't say that. That's crazy talk.
Dude,
his two dud games this year haven't been like traditional Derrick Henry duds, where it's like he still has like 8.5 points because he just didn't score touchdowns. This year, they're like 4.5 points and 6 points But his monster games are still monster
I agree.
games. Like
I
I'm
agree.
pretty
And
sure
that's
he
why
still has
you-
a game
you
this
have
year
to
with
start him,
38
but
points
man.
or something like that. So like you have
Yeah.
to play Derrick Henry.
I'm just
That's-
saying with
that's
Tajay
crazy
Spears
talk.
getting that many carries, it's just like it makes
It's
Derrick
not
Henry
just
have
carries,
less
though.
boom
Tajay
games.
Spears they're using as a weapon.
I agree.
Like I wouldn't say they're just deploying him as a running back.
No.
They're on the
He's-
field together.
He's something different. I agree.
Yeah. And when they're on the field together, it's really interesting. I like it.
I'm just saying it's going to take a little away from Henry's totals, and I think that's what's happened so
I
far.
don't think it has. I disagree. I disagree, and I'll back that up right now because it's funny because it feels like you've just joined the train on this one too. Because I've been like this. For Derrick Henry the last 2 years, his bad games are bad.
Oh, no,
for an
I'm
elite
aware.
running back, his bad games are bad, but like he's not, to me, having any kind of he's just not having. We've seen some like monster strings from Derrick Henry, and we haven't seen one yet this year. Like
True.
7 games in, and we haven't seen like 3 straight games of Derrick Henry monster.
which is
games.
why people like me are worried. So
But at the same time, he's got at New Orleans, one of the toughest matchups for running backs, 14 points. The Chargers next week, 18.5. Then Cleveland, which has been the toughest match for everybody, 2. That's bad. 26.5 the next week against Cincinnati, 9 against Indy, and then 19 last week against Baltimore. So, and then you look at last year, and he started the year 8.5. And then it was he had a strong string, 25, 23, 27, 17, 35, 23, 9.
I agree.
8,
Yeah.
or
Well,
and
I'm
then-
just saying.
And then
we're-
hold on, and then 2 weeks later, 6 against Philly. So this isn't new.
I completely agree with you, but we're having more single-digit weeks early in the season than we ever had before. Like,
No, disagree.
we
I just
I know.
gave it to you.
Yeah, and there
And
was
he-
like
and-
4 for the whole
And,
year.
no, and
last year.
last year was back to back to start the year too. Okay, fine.
We got to find a bet on that.
Start Derrick Henry. Don't listen to Brian. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Next up
Start
is
Tajay Spears too, and those are the only 2 people on that offense you want to start.
Next up, we got Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jacksonville -2.5. Over/under is at 42. Money line's at -142 and 120 if you're on the Steelers.
Yeah, I think
Brian's
you have
so
to.
far off base tonight that I don't want to pick the Steelers anymore.
I think you have to call us the dirty Steelers now because that's all we do is win dirty games,
no.
man. It is so crazy.
The Stillers, as they say,
Right.
say in Pittsburgh. Stillers.
Oh man.
Even if we made those 2 field goal kicks, we still would have lost that game.
It would have changed. Yeah, it would have changed things. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. At the end of the game, getting to keep the ball. There were so many things that happened in that game that was fun. But as far as this game goes, things are going to be interesting. And now in the Steelers' backfield, choosing between Najee and Jalen Warren every week is just tough. It's really kind of a 50-50 thing. If you feel like the Steelers are going to come out on top, pick Najee. If you think it's going to be a close game where we might be behind, pick Warren. I don't know what else to say about the backfield there. But as far as the receivers, I think you have to start Pickens and Johnson, don't
I think
you?
Najee Harris is a difficult start. I think if you think the Steelers are going to be competitive with whoever they're playing against, you just start them. Like if you think the game's going to be close, you start him.
Mm-hmm.
But Jalen Warren, you just start regardless. He happened to score. Like he had a down week in terms of production last week, but he scored a touchdown, so he still gave you over 10 PPR points. But that's what he's doing week after week after week, 9 or 10 points every single week. So you can put him in your flex, like if you're in a really bad spot. But that's where he should be.
I'm just saying I have him in my Dynasty League, and I haven't started him yet.
Look at his game log.
And that's what I'm doing right now. 10 points, 10 points, 11 points, 8 points, 12 points, 6 points. So yeah, he's the Michael Thomas of the running back.
He's going to give you 10 to 12 points somewhere around there. I think if you have Jalen Warren, if you have him, you're probably starting him, or you should be trying to trade him to a desperate team. That's what you should
That's
be
fair.
doing.
That's fair.
That's like because you shouldn't just be sitting on him, because somebody wants him. Somebody will use him.
Yeah.
That's what I would do with him.
And wide receivers to me are also interesting. Johnson being back, he's going to get his.
What was Deontay, like 5 for 70 or something like that in the game?
Something like that, which
Like
is going to be his typical, and he's going to get some
Uh-huh.
touchdowns, and that's a great little start.
It's a great start, and I think his target share will go up as the weeks go along.
That's true too. That was his first week off IR.
So
That
was
Pickens,
promising.
does that mean Pickens goes down?
No, I think
he's
it's
been
better
pretty
for
good
him.
lately.
I think it's better for Pickens. Like we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I thought that the Steelers were really just missing their chain mover, which is what Deontay is.
Yep.
So we'll see how the offense builds.
Yeah,
and
maybe we look that much better now with Deontay now.
Yeah, and this is a good test because Jacksonville's been playing really good. They played probably their best game of the season last week. They got to go into victory formation with 2 minutes to go, so it doesn't get much better than that. But I'm going to pick against them.
Okay.
I am going to take the Steelers this week.
I'm going to take the Steelers. Jacksonville side, not a lot to say. You start ETN, you start Kirk, and
this is going to be an
Ridley
ugly
is
game.
a maybe.
This is going to be an ugly game. This is a morning
I
game on
agree.
the East Coast.
Yeah.
So, and outdoors. And the Steelers play good in these. They just play well in these games. They know how
You
to
are
play.
absolutely right.
Next up, we got the Texans versus the Panthers. Texans -3, over/under is 43.5, -155 if you're betting on the Texans, and +130 if you're betting on the Panthers.
My Texans are back.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
was-
maybe I'm just going with my heart here, but I feel like the Texans should roll this game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so we're all going Texans.
I feel like Stroud should be great.
This is the number 1 versus number 2. This is C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young.
I didn't even realize. That's
and
hilarious.
Bryce Young's been playing horrible. C.J. Stroud has been playing very well. It all sets up exactly for C.J. Stroud to just blow the doors off him, right? That's exactly what's going to happen, right?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Nothing else could possibly happen, right? Nothing.
Nope.
What could go wrong?
It's the NFL. It's easily predicted,
Yes, if you have the script, it is.
right? Now, to me, the most interesting thing in the game to me here is Singletary and
I knew
Pierce
you were going to bring that up.
in the backfield for Houston.
That's funny.
I will
You
really
way
want to
overspent.
see was last week just this weird week where something was wrong with Pierce or something was going on that we don't know about, and it's just going to be right back to Pierce now, or are they looking at it like, wow, Singletary is a talented back who needs to be getting 50-60% of the touches? So I'm picking up Singletary everywhere just in case. What do you think?
I'm not doing that.
All right. So 2 different takes on that.
Yeah.
And Carolina side Sanders is back.
Singletary is fast. He is fast. I'll give him that. But he runs into his own linemen sometimes. I don't think he has the same vision that Pierce has. He doesn't have the ability to break tackles that Pierce has, and he's not the pass catcher that Pierce is. So, no, thank you. I have to drive. So,
Fair enough.
yeah. These boys.
All right.
It's Tequila Brian night.
That's right. I'm back.
Yeah, so on the Panther side, good old Adam Thielen, right? Fire him up. You just keep riding Adam Thielen. If Miles Sanders is back, I don't want any part of the Carolina rushing attack this week. Houston's actually been better. They've been better.
Okay. I'd take Sanders over Rashad White.
So here's the thing. Oh, you're going. Yeah, you're going to go back to the well against Rashad White. And I would take Rashad White over Miles Sanders too. So here's the thing is about Rashad White is the way you should look at him is like a poor man's Alvin Kamara, because when you look at what Alvin Kamara is doing, and it's like 18 carries for 60 yards, but he's getting 10 targets a game and catching 7 of them. So in PPR, he's a monster. And if he happens to score a touchdown, you're talking about a top 5 performance on the week. And Rashad White is getting a similar, he's not getting the same rushing volume because Tampa Bay is just terrible at running the football. So they're just not running the ball as much as New Orleans is. but he is getting a bunch of passing volume. He's going to get you dirty points every week.
Yeah, and I will say his floor is a little higher than I thought. He's 7 points. It's like 7, 21, 7, 10, 7, 15. You know, so he's slightly better than what I thought there, but still not somebody.
And he's the only guy getting the work there.
All right, fair enough.
He's
We're all taking the Texans. Let's move on from this trash game.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, next up we have the New Orleans Saints versus the Indianapolis Colts. It's -1 if you're on the Saints, over under 43.5, -112 if you're betting on the Saints, and -108 if you're betting on the Colts.
Alvin Kamara.
All right. Yeah, definitely start him. Start Kamara, start Michael Thomas if you're looking for 10 points. Olave. He's been okay.
No, he's fine.
Right? He's
It's
been
not.
okay?
It's not his fault.
Okay.
If you watch,
I agree.
if you're
No,
watching the games, man,
he's talented, but
he is elite.
he has a quarterback.
He has a quarterback issue.
Yeah.
They have a quarterback issue. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, the last couple of games, has been getting more work in the passing game. Like, I checked that out, and you were absolutely right. He's getting a lot more targets than I thought he was getting. But that also coincides with Juwan Johnson missing a couple of games.
It's true.
And he'll be back this week. But
So
you should
still something to watch, but yeah.
yeah. So just like, if you did spend up to get Taysom Hill this week,
No. I don't think you had to spend up to get Taysom Hill.
I
think
saw
you,
some people spend up to get Taysom
Really?
Hill in some leagues. Yes, I did.
Wow.
I did.
Oh no.
It was
no.
it was funny.
No, guys, that's
I
not
put,
what I
like-
was recommending. I was saying get him cheap. Get him cheap.
You missed the window. So you should start him though. You should start Kamara. You should start Taysom Hill. You should probably not start Derek Carr. Actually, you know what? This is the 10 o'clock game that's indoors, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this I'm gonna call this one. This is the fantasy bonanza game. This is it.
Wow. Okay.
This is the one right here.
See, I was thinking
so
this
the guy
one-
that I was in on, like I was actually like I really wanted to get this week in places where I needed a quarterback was Gardner Minshew. I think he's going to be our Jameis Winston, where he's just he's going to cause a bunch of fantasy points to happen. And so in that game where they lost 39-38, right?
Yeah.
The Browns defense was good for 20 points in standard scoring leagues.
Yeah.
Because Gardner Minshew just turned the ball over so many times. Gardner Minshew was worth 36 points. So
God, did he get that high?
yeah.
Wow.
Yes. It was insane.
That is crazy.
And I think that's going to keep going.
Think that's going to happen?
I do.
Now, this is a divisional
I think the Colts
game,
are gonna
right?
Be that. So the Colts are really banged up on defense. They've also been a disappointment on defense. So I think they're going to be that team that just gives a bunch of fantasy points. Like the offense has to be bad that they're playing against in order for it not to be a bunch of fantasy points going to happen. That's the way I see their season playing out.
All right.
I'm
going to take the Saints here.
I'm big on. I'm going to take the Saints.
Okay.
I think the Colts are going to cause a bunch of fantasy points, but they're going to lose a lot of games. But yeah, you should be excited. I think you can. It's funny because the split still was about the same between Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss.
Yeah,
last
I saw
week.
that. Yeah.
And Zach Moss was okay. He didn't score, but he was okay. So I think you can't drop him, and he's probably still worth a flex start. Jonathan Taylor, you're still just kind of crossing your fingers, like he's RB2 with upside at this point. He's not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, you're not calling him a stud yet, but their receivers, Pittman and Downs, to me, both top 20.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pittman has been surprising for sure, and Downs has been more consistent than I thought.
They're going to keep throwing the heck out of the ball, I think.
All right.
So next up we have the Browns versus the Seahawks. Browns plus 3.5, over unders 38, plus 154 if you're betting on the Browns. Minus 185 if you're betting on the Seahawks.
And it looks like Deshaun Watson is going to be out yet again. He's having some complications with that shoulder.
Shut him down.
For the year, you think?
Yeah. He might need surgery.
Yeah, they announced pretty early in the week that they were going with was it PJ Walker? Yeah. So I thought that might have been just because PJ played so good last week.
I'm trying to sell Amari Cooper in my dynasty league, where like I got him last year at the end of last year when I was losing, with the thought that he would be good this year.
Yeah.
And it looked like I was going to be right at first. But if there's no Deshaun, like I'm gonna like if it's not better this week between him and PJ, like I'm out.
Yeah. I'm not starting anybody on the Browns this week. Basically, I mean. Ford, maybe?
He's hurt. He's out.
Yeah. Oh, he's out?
Yeah. Do you want Pierre Strong?
Nope.
You want Kareem Hunt's touchdowns?
Nope.
Touchdown or bust?
Nope. I want nuts. So, wow. So I'm really starting nobody from the Browns this week.
Nobody. Yeah. The defense.
So I think it's safe to say I take the Seahawks.
Yeah, me too. And they're in Seattle. Yeah, it's going to be loud. It's going to be really loud.
And Cleveland's got a good D, but Seahawks are going to take care of business.
Yeah, I think so too.
Next up, we have KC Chiefs versus the Denver Broncos, -7 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Over-under is at 46, -310 if you're betting on the Chiefs, and +250 if you're betting on the Broncos.
So I think with their first matchup being on Thursday night, you can kind of throw that out because Thursday night games are weird.
True.
Like teams will, because they're more worried about injuries and stuff like that. They'll sit guys. They'll dumb down their playbooks and stuff like that. I feel like Thursday night games suck.
I wouldn't take him out though.
Right? Exactly. Like I think you're right,
By the time
but I like them.
Yeah, I'm still gonna watch. Yeah.
By the time Wednesday rolls around, I'm already
Yeah,
like,
but-
I want
but they do-
football.
Yep.
I want football.
I'm with you, brother.
Can we get a Tuesday game?
See, I'm not, dude.
Only in the COVID years.
You know what?
No,
And see,
I miss them.
And for
I
me,
miss the games.
because I like so many. I like sports. I like a lot of sports.
Oh, that's yeah.
So like for me, I would enjoy the break from football. Like I'd be totally cool with going back to just Sunday and Monday, and let me focus on basketball and baseball and whatever during the week.
I think we should
Other
have 2 bye
sports?
weeks.
I do too.
Yeah.
And actually, so I think they should just put all the teams on bye weeks the same week, rather than just like having. Do something else. Do something else so that we don't have these weird. To me, it causes like chaos in terms of competitive advantages, because of how you have teams that are the way that they're flying around and the way that they have their bye week scheduled. You'll have a team that just coming off like this is their second consecutive road game, and they were on the other side of the country this week playing against a team that was off last week. And I hate that kind of stuff. Because I feel like there's so many times now when you're watching on Sunday and you're just not getting the best version
I hear you.
of both teams.
Yeah.
It happens so often. And it's like, we only get one game a week from each of our teams. We want the best version.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, off the
I feel-
digression here.
Maybe not. Obviously, you can't put them all because the most important thing is that they continue to bring in those ad revenues.
That's what I care about.
Yep.
So
That's what we all care about.
So maybe you just do them half and half. You know what I mean? Like half the league is off one week and half the league is off the next week or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. You can tell me on that. I still want 2 more. I still
But
want 2 bye
also,
weeks.
like what I would prefer is if they did like.
I just want the season to go longer.
if they did like 2 weeks off in the middle of the year and did the Pro Bowl in the middle of that.
Doing the Pro Bowl in the middle of the year so everybody gets a bye that week, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like that. That's kind of like the
And people would
the
watch more, I think.
mid-tournament for basketball.
And that's all the
whatnot.
other
Yeah.
All-Star games happen in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Like
No,
usually,
that's smart.
It usually happens towards like the 2/3 of the way of the way through the season. But still, like the fact that the NFL Pro Bowl, like when I was a kid, players didn't skip the Pro Bowl, but they do now.
Yeah.
They'll
Oh,
just, like they'll lose their playoff game and then, go get surgery.
Yeah.
So next up, Ravens versus Cardinals. Ravens -8. Over-unders at 44. -395 is the money line on the Ravens and +310 on the Cardinals.
I am going hard after Lamar Jackson everywhere.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's based off of you think his passing is going to be better,
It has
or
been, and like you look at what he just did to the Lions.
that was impressive,
Yeah,
no doubt.
and look at his numbers. Lamar
I
Jackson's
sat
numbers
Edwards.
are ridiculous.
I still won, but I sat Edwards. He gave me like 25 points on the bench.
Who's that?
Edwards.
Gus.
Gus Edwards.
Oh, you sat the bus.
It didn't matter. I won anyway, but
You're supposed to sit on the bus, not, not off the bus.
I still didn't start it this week.
I don't think that there's any real drama in this game.
Okay.
I think it's it is in Arizona, and it's funny the Cardinals just kind of win strange games out in the desert. But I don't think
This is going to be one of them.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
So next up, we got the Bengals versus the Niners, plus 3.5 on the Bengals. Over-unders at 43.5. Plus 145 is the money line on the Bengals, and minus 175 for the Niners.
Real quick on that last one, Emery DeMarcado did take over at running
Yes,
back.
yes. That is an important thing to note.
And there's still
It's
no
funny
running
because
back
we
involved.
thought he was the man 2 weeks ago, and then he didn't get any carries the next week, and then now this week he's the man. So, and he showed out pretty well. So he's one of those guys that you should probably pick up
And
and have on
Kyler's
your
coming
bench
back.
just in case.
Kyler's coming back.
Yep, Kyler is coming back probably
And we
in
don't
2 to
know
3
when
weeks.
James
but-
Conner's coming back. There hasn't been a whole lot of
Right.
talk about him, and like I said that knee did not look good.
Yeah, yeah. You,
Like,
you said flopping around.
The
so,
knee is not
yeah.
supposed to flop like that.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of somebody's knee flopping around like that, and then them being feeling pretty good after the game, like like the quote was. So I don't know. Maybe James Conner's back in 2 weeks, but I don't see that. I really don't. I think it's more like 6.
No, I think you're right on that.
And so on to this game. So this is one of those things I was just talking about. The 49ers had a tough loss in Cleveland, had a tough loss in Minnesota, are coming home to face a team off a bye.
I mean, what are you saying? Like,
They're going to lose again.
you think they're losing
No,
3
I
in a
don't.
row?
So actually, I do think they're going to lose this game, but Brock Purdy is in concussion protocol.
Yes,
and
he
that's
is.
why I think they're going to lose this game. It is a golden opportunity for Sam Darnold.
And here's my prediction: Sam Darnold is going to start, and he's going to go in and look good.
I had that thought too. initially.
Darnold is going to look like the freaking man out there.
But I believe in Purdy too much to believe that there's a quarterback controversy coming his way.
I
And if
don't think
Sam
there's a
Dar-
quarterback
if
controversy
Sam
coming.
Darnold goes out there and throws 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and looks good doing it because he can, and that's the thing against Brock Purdy is that when you watch him throw the football, you're not impressed with his physical ability to throw the football. And now what I tell people is go back and watch Tom Brady his first 5 years. He was not impressive throwing the football. He became a great thrower of the football as his body matured and after years of weight training, he became
and learning to be a tactician in the meantime.
and also just learning how to throw the football. He became a good thrower of the football. He wasn't a good thrower of the football right away.
Just on the Sam Darnold side, just in the last couple of years, it seems like he's taking strides forward.
I agree.
You know
but he
what I mean?
also took some steps backwards.
So are you picking the Niners,
last year in
Brian?
Carolina.
I am picking
and
the
that's
Niners.
and that's why
and I
he didn't-
love being the lone wolf on that.
And no. I didn't actually pick the Bengals. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten there.
Boo.
Time to start moving. It's time to start getting there.
Oh my god! What time is it?
Time for me to go to bed. Doesn't matter what time it is.
Oh my god! This guy. Man, I have trouble picking against the 49ers at home.
I get it. I get it.
McCaffrey's back. You're going to start him. Ayuk. Kittle is always a rough start just because he's either going to be a great start or a horrible start. And then I think Devo's still hurt.
I am going to pick the Bengals in this one.
And then Bengals coming off
Yeah,
the bye.
Bengals coming off the bye, and also it's a bit of a revenge game because the 49ers came into
true.
their house and took it to them last year.
Yeah.
And it really hurt their playoffs.
I think
'cause
it's
they
going to be a
didn't
great game.
They didn't get to play at home. I think it's going to be a good game, too.
Yeah.
I do think it's going going to be a good game no matter who starts at quarterback for the 49ers. But as a Brock Purdy fan and believer, I have a hard time believing that Sam Darnold's going to come in and have a great game. Like, I can see it. I can see that happening, you know, but it's just so unlikely. It's like
Can I put this in the pie bet?
You'd have no. What do you mean? Like, what is?
I was trying to find a way. Oh, I would just go San Francisco versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, no.
Sam Darnold.
Absolutely, I would not take a pie in the face for the 49ers beating the Bengals at home.
Sam Darnold, 16 plus fantasy points.
No.
Yeah, I think any starting quarterback would get that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Could get that. Then we got kind of screwed by the 49ers.
Yeah, I don't think there's one there.
All right.
I think you're going to end up stuck on Brian Robinson.
Oh, I'm cool with that.
Next up, Chicago Bears versus the LA Chargers. Plus 8.5 on the Chicago Bears. Over/unders 46.5. Plus 320 if you're betting on the Bears, and minus 410 if you're betting on the Chargers.
So I'm not that impressed
on the prime time
with the rookie from Chicago as everybody else seems to be.
Which rookie?
Bilbo Baggins.
Oh, Bilbo. I forgot. Honestly, I forgot he was a rookie. I thought he was some journeyman guy that I'd never heard of.
Apparently, his dad is like a 50-time world champion arm wrestler. Something like that, with both arms, and I'm not like 50 with each, but
right.
like his championships are with mixed between both right and left arms, so he'll beat you with both.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I was like, okay. So he's got some chops. Okay.
All right.
But no, and he plays fearless. I'll say that about him. But he's got a weird delivery. Like it's somewhere between. Like a bit of it looks like Phillip Rivers, because it comes from because it comes from like a 3/4 angle, but it doesn't look like a shot put. Does that make sense? So like his arms out, like he has a weird like
looks odd but not
very
stupid.
Susceptible to like being having it ripped out. Like if a defender is just coming around the corner, because he gets it so far away from his body. It's also kind of a slow delivery, like it's a long delivery. Anyway, he's got a pretty good arm.
So DJ Moore is still viable.
Yeah, and I said that last week. And he didn't score last week, and I think you're going to get more games like what you got with last week. So he's like a second wide receiver. He's not that like the gem that you got in the 5th or 6th round. That's like taking you to a championship anymore. So that's disappointing, but he's definitely still, a good start. I wouldn't be that stoked about Dante Foreman. We're still waiting on Roshan Johnson to come back. Khalil Herbert's going to be back any day. And it was really more that Raiders defense being bad against the run. And I kind of thought the way I expected the game to play out was that the Raiders would get on top of the Bears, because the Bears had a poorer defense, but that's just not the way it played out. The Bears were able to get on top of the Raiders, with their rushing attack
very early.
Yeah, and the Raiders just weren't able to, that Brian Hoyer was the quarterback, so
says something.
So anyway, all that being said, the Bears have no shot this week. I think the Chargers are like, and
the Chargers need to win so bad. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Best team in the league that can't win.
Yeah, they've had such a brutal schedule.
Yeah, that's true too.
So moving on, the Raiders versus the Detroit Lions. If you can flex a primetime game, maybe this is when you should
This
flex.
is the wounded animal game. These teams got their brains beat in last week. Both of them.
Plus 8 on the Raiders. Over-unders 46.5. Money line's 310 on the Raiders and minus 395 on the Detroit Lions.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, just to go back to the last game real quick. Eckler, like, are we worried about Eckler? Because I just don't feel like I'm worried about him.
You can't be worried about him yet.
Okay, I'm like, in my guillotine league.
One game.
In my guillotine league, I picked this guy up off the waivers for dirt cheap. I could have paid $1. Nobody else bid for him. Nobody. So I was just like, do I not know something about Eckler, or?
You should get Kelly too.
Right? Oh, I got no room. That team's stacked. But anyway, okay. Going back to the Raiders, Detroit. Detroit, man, they looked bad
it's in
last
Detroit
week.
on primetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to come back and they'll look great again. That was a weird week last week, but at home, Jared
Kind
Goff
of a
is
buzzsaw
great.
game. Just kind of a buzzsaw game. It got away from him, and
Very quickly.
the
yeah.
Ravens were they came out hot, you know.
Yes, no
and
doubt.
And the game just really got away from Detroit really fast. So one of those ones you just have to kind of like, you know,
I agree.
wipe away and try not to take too much from it. And it's crazy because even losing 38-6, Amon St. Brown still put up over 20 PPR fantasy points.
And Gibbs and Gibbs had a nice game.
And
You have
that's
to throw that out
most
there.
actionable thing about this game was that the
Exactly.
hype going into the game through the week about using Gibbs more was absolutely true.
Finally, yep.
Finally.
Finally true. So this week, you better be starting him. No Montgomery. You need to be starting Gibbs against
And the Raiders' rush defense just made Dante Foreman look like a stud.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to
29
I think
points? Was that right?
I think I'm willing to guarantee a touchdown for Gibbs. Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't take a pie in the face for that. No, I'm with you. At least one. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The Raiders are really, really, really bad against running backs.
Josh Jacobs looked really bad last week, but you still got to start him. Devontae Adams,
You're
of
not
course.
excited
Is
about
there
it.
anybody else?
I would still, if you jumped on the Mayer train, I would stick with it because Jimmy G will be back this week. And that's who he was building things with. It was
That's fair.
And so last week was, you were just kind of hoping they were going to continue to run the offense through him. And it didn't work out that way. It was unfortunate. But I wouldn't be deterred by last week. I would just stick with Mayer. I think from what I saw, it looked like he was becoming an important part of the offense.
All right. And that being said, give me the Lions.
Me too. Roar.
So next up, we got the Tennessee Titans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday. Plus 3.5 on the Titans. Over unders 37.5. Money line's 154 and minus 185 if you're betting on the Steelers.
I get to do my favorite thing. I get to pick a team to win
Steelers.
twice and a team to lose twice. Before we talk to people
Same.
again.
Yep.
Steelers.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, so
I
I'll be
love the
taking
Steelers, in
at
that
home
one.
on prime time. Yes.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with
Against
Tennessee.
a team that struggles to score 20 points, absolutely.
Yeah. Tennessee maybe tanking. So, yep.
Is that
All right.
everything then?
Yeah, I think we got it, guys.
So
Like,
next
that was a
up,
lot of games.
we're going, and don't forget, everybody, you can join us on Spotify if you're listening on YouTube or Kick, and if you're on YouTube or Kick, we're also on Spotify. We're going to target Saturday, November 4th, but that might not also happen. It sounds like Brian still has to work out some details, but that's what we're going to target.
Yeah, Brian might be making his picks with a 20-sided die that night and getting a pie in the face.
It's one
I'm
Saturday,
not sure
Brian.
how we're going to work all that out, but we will get it worked out.
It's one Saturday, Brian. It's one Saturday. You
We'll
can-
figure it out.
Rashad
guys.
White, everybody. Rashad White.
So, we got, I think, a little bit of time left. Is there anything you guys want to go over? Just bullshit or?
I mean, yeah, all the time.
Right?
I got a lot on my mind, brother.
Oh, go for it then,
Well,
Ken. What's
So,
on your mind?
just I want to throw out there. My favorite stat of the week is just the Steelers record. Because you ask anybody what's the Steelers record this year?
2-4.
Yeah, 2-4, maybe 3-3, 1-5.
Yeah.
No, we're 4-2, people. All right, got to throw that out there.
No, that's fine.
I'm really sad about my redraft team in Top Gun.
3 in a row losses.
It's probably going to be 4. It doesn't look good right now. It doesn't look good.
What do you
Yeah,
mean by
Cameron
re-
and I were talking about
What,
you.
what do you
at work
mean by
today, and it's
redraft?
like, ooh.
What do you,
That's what happens when you lose Chubb.
what do you mean by redraft team?
Huh?
For those who don't.
So
A
all
redraft
go.
team is a team that you have to draft at the beginning of the season.
So like our league is a redraft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because every
yeah.
year we redraft the
Yeah,
entire
gotcha,
team.
gotcha.
It's
Dynasty
not-
leagues,
so
the
basically-
weird ones.
Yeah, it's
Basically the normal leagues.
you know it's
Exactly.
funny
Yeah.
because I'm so sad about my redraft league, our Top Gun, but my dynasty leagues are just killing it right now.
and I'm the exact opposite.
I'm 6-1 in the other Dynasty League, and I just took down one of the other 5-1 teams. So now I'm the only team with 1 loss in that league. I've outscored everybody by 80 or more points, and I'm like being 6-1. I have like the 3rd most points scored against me. So,
and in that league, I am 1-6.
No, it's a different one. That's a different one. This is a different one. Yes, yeah. And the reason he thought I was talking about that league because I'm crushing that league too. Oh my god, it's insane.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah. So Dynasty, not so bueno, but redraft, that's where I kick butt. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and I mean, I might be the opposite. You know,
Yeah.
I might have too much of a long view, or I really just struggle with like the.
Whereas I just like winning.
Just this week though. I like winning year after year after year. Brian's like, I'll just win with a jumble of players this year.
Just give me some trophies. I'll take that trophy, and I'll take that trophy, and.
I do have a question actually from Wadabizi. Which one of my running backs should I trade, Calvin Ridley or Amari Cooper?
Oh man, woof.
God, whichever one you can get the most for. Honestly,
I don't know if you heard me. Yeah, if you heard me earlier, I was really shopping Amari Cooper because Amari Cooper might be missing his quarterback the rest of the year, whereas Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence have flashed together, and he's still going to have his quarterback. I don't think Calvin Ridley is going to lose his job, and they are going to get Zay Jones back pretty soon. And Ridley was better with Zay Jones on the field. So I would lean towards keeping Ridley, and you'll probably get less for him anyway.
Yeah, honestly, I think what you should do is hold on to them both through this week. I think one of them will probably have a decent week this week, and that's the one I'd trade. That's how I'd work it.
I agree with that.
All right. Well, with that, why don't you go ahead and take us out, Ken?
Oh. All right, it was a short one this week, but short and sweet, and hopefully you got the information you needed.
Good luck, everybody. Yeah. Coming up on the playoff crush.
Ooh, coming up soon.
Yeah, it's the stretch time.
It is. Most important weeks of the year, boys.
Stretch time.
Keep up with everything.
Good luck,
Good
everybody.
luck. See you next week.